Authorities respond to killing of 28-year-old man. COVID testing before deployment. And hunters record first win.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayre.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Sunday's news. The Magi Highway of Central Province came to a halt following the alleged killing of a 28-year-old man from Guinea-Golo village in the Rigo district of Central Province. The roadblock by disgruntled locals started at 8 p.m. Friday night, the time when the killing occurred, and continued through to yesterday. Governor for Central Province, Robert Agarobe, with the Assistant Commissioner of Police, NCD, and Central Command, Anthony Wagambi Jr., were summoned to address the issue.
A 28-year-old man from Guinea-Golo village in Rigo district of Central Province was allegedly killed at point-blank range at the famous Gary Fish Market along the Magi Highway around 7 to 8 p.m. on Friday. Following the alleged killing, a roadblock was set up by the locals demanding answers from the central provincial government. Eyewitnesses say the young man was allegedly killed by police whilst carrying about his usual business of selling mustard, his means of bread and butter. An account of a witness who wishes to remain anonymous stated the deceased Billy Iru was unarmed and defenseless at the time he was shot.
Monday na police tok wanem luyam. Manem sprint go outside there. Time sprint go outside them. Misana posem na. Manem 3 meters em maneran. Maneran kam goem. At in 5 meters lo front lo police car na. Dai mane disla police mane sim M16 em sutim lo backside lo. Em sutim lo et bleme em mane puran. Man puran em mino sawe. Mitino sem wambla gaire mangi o wane ol sutim em o wambla steel mangi. Mi poret na mi run come inside them. Mi run come inside them. Same time mi like mi no run come inside them. Wambla policeman come. Backside lo mem dislamane mem siran upside. Man come time gun para pem man to koi. You walk you one me. Slam man stop upside there. Na em driver talk. Dislamane em like mosem nem daya. Pasi mas nakalap ni mi ko. Na em driver tanim nem go side blame. Kam lo side blame ol mane mol bus natin ol poret na. Gan para posem ol poret ya. Time mane policeman kam sanap lo driver side ya. Em to go sem. Next time em pla woki mosem em by puran mosem. Em tanim na kalap lo karna. Ol take off ya.
The body of the deceased was removed at 2 a.m. yesterday by forensics officers. Local ward members have expressed disgust at the behavior of one law enforcement officer.
And we rely on them. Our safety is in their hands here. But then it happened the other way around. So our councillors were concerned now about our village people. Are they going to protect us or are they going to kill us?
That fellow who died yesterday afternoon is a breadwinner for his family. Due to this, this incident happened yesterday. I'm not very happy about it. I'm not very happy about that because a life, the innocent life, has taken away without any good reason.
This is the third incident that has occurred, and this one has proved fatal. A young 28-year-old from Guinea-Golo has been killed.
Central Province Governor Robert Agarobe arrived at 12:30 p.m. yesterday to address the disgruntled crowd. The family of the deceased and locals presented their petition to the governor, which included for justice to be served and for compensation, as the killing was done by an officer of state. In response, the governor asked the people not to take the law into their own hands.
Manage it properly, please. We are not helping ourselves by doing this. You have now brought the message across to me. I am personally here to listen to you Make sure that we make sure this, if there's any wrongdoing here, these people will face the full force of the law. Nobody's above the law. Even me, I'm not above the law. That's why when I come here, I have to be very, very careful with what I say. Because the investigations are ongoing now. We can't speculate. And before I left and came here, I made sure that Commander Wangabi called in that unit that caused this problem. So they're at the Gordon's police station now, getting investigated, getting interviewed now, right now to speak. Okay? So that's the assurance I'm giving you.
Assistant Commissioner of Police, Southern Command, Anthony Wagambi Jr., with Central Provincial Police Commander Alaimo Asi, also addressed the disgruntled crowd at the Gaira market. ACP Wagambi Jr. assured the family of the deceased and the community that the suspect has been identified, in custody and currently under investigation.
This is something people concerned. We got a report last night. Like Deputy Commander said, we did not sleep. Somebody here, we were communicating with them until this morning. That's why we came here, personally to assure you that action has been taken. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like Laimo has said, Laimo talk here. The vehicle has been identified by you people here, has been locked up, the firearm removed, and the policeman identified has been arrested, locked in the cell now. Yeah!
Kilawani, National EMTV News.
New Ireland Governor Sir Julius Chan says the national government has paid little attention to support the law and justice system of the province. Speaking in KVN, Governor Chan says police and CIS lack capacity building from the national level. Sir Julius wants the national government to allocate appropriate funding so the province can plan to improve agencies in the law and justice sector. Chan says this is another reason why the New Ireland province is pushing for autonomy.
Plenty run down all CIS too. Time belong all on moving along count for the last 20 years. They have not moved. Police station too, you go down. So national government, giving plenty attention to Muslim New Ireland because me to play like rat. So that's why we want autonomy. All you can big money long Lear, na Simberi, all fish, na forest but come back long like the soul. That's why we want autonomy. That's why we want to take control of our own resources. Now you may yet build them up all these facilities for law enforcement.
The Papua New Guinea Defence Force, in compliance with the latest COVID-19 requirements, is now conducting mandatory pre-deployment tests for troops. The first batch of soldiers to undergo testing was the Combat Support Services team from the Force Support Battalion. A medical team from PNGDF conducted the rapid diagnostic testing at the Air Transport Wing to clear the troops before their departure to the southern PNG border on Thursday.
The first batch of troops from the Force Support Battalion gathered at the Air Transport Wing on Thursday for testing. Medical team from PNGDF conducted the testing and cleared the troops before departure to the southern PNG-Indonesian border. This is now a requirement that all troops must be tested before deployment. And it is also in line with the Chief of Forces directives on additional COVID-19 pandemic measures for the organization issued early this month.
Now it has become mandatory for the troops to be tested for coronavirus before deployments, especially to the borders and the islands SOE operations. So we are making it as our standard operation procedure to test everyone before deployment.
This is the first time the PNGDF is using the COVID-19 rapid diagnostic testing. With this testing, all officers were tested negative and were cleared to travel on Thursday. And they will continue to use this testing in compliance with COVID-19 protocols. This testing also applies to troops returning home. Officers tested positive for COVID-19 will be isolated.
We are putting 5 days isolation prior to the testing. Before deployment and on return, they do the test before they come, and they come for 5 days isolations before they are allowed to socialize with other people.
If they're asymptomatic, they are likely to be isolated at their own homes or lines, but if they are symptomatic, we will definitely get them to Rita Flynn.
A team from the Tarama Military Hospital was also deployed to conduct tests for more than 70 personnel in Western Province. Lab technician Captain Grace Goina explained that the whole process will be reviewed once the first batch of troops returned home. The first batch returned yesterday from Kiunga.
This is the first. After that, we'll start shaping up on our little gaps in doing this prior to deployments, then moving out to the places there and doing the testing, or supplying the troops with the test kits so they can do the testing themselves with their medics and get them cleared instead of us flying back and forth for that.
The commanding officer for the Force Support Battalion explained that this measure was put in place to avoid disruptions to deployment time and rotations. He also expressed satisfaction, saying rapid diagnostic testing is the way forward.
The protocols came into effect a few days ago. That has affected our deployment. So we have to do the rapid test. So we are compliant with the new protocol, so our troops can deploy on time. Our risks can be done in compliance with the protocols as well as meet the timelines of the Defence Force.
Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
Palam Primary School is one of the oldest schools in WAM LLG of Ambunti Drekike district in the East Sepik province. It was established in 1985 and for 36 years now the standard of the school continues to remain stagnant. Head teacher Andrew Kassin said the school is remote where basic government services like road and health service are lacking, which discourages teachers taking up postings. Kassin says most students drop out in grade 6. The basic rights of the people to basic government services and education have been deprived for years. Kassin also said that most classrooms and staff houses are built with bush materials every year. People in that LLG demand the attention of the provincial government to address their plea. Central Province is keen to maintain its ties with the Somare family. Governor Robert Agorobe says the late Sir Michael spent more than half of his life on Central soil. Here is a story behind the scenes where a contingent from the Central Provincial Assembly attended the burial of late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare in Wewak.
The Central Province delegation was one of the first to arrive in Wewak East Sepik. Their visit was to maintain the bond with the Somare family and people of East Sepik. Governor Robert Agorobe says this relationship will forge to great heights by maintaining traditions with the family.
Because Chief school of started political career, did his ready whole political life down there, retired there, and then died there. It's the kind of possible and people can spirit them to come back.
The contingent involved assembly members consisting of 16 LLG presidents in central and senior citizens, whom most were represented by family members. Governor Agorobe says the late Sir Michael attended school in Sogari, worked in Port Moresby and had close ties with central leaders. He says Sir Michael has left a lasting legacy, one where many will find it hard to grasp.
He built an institution. He's an institution himself. He built an institution. He built a structure that could hold these 1,000 tribes together and who speak 800 different languages. And he put in a structure that held it together.
Behind the scenes, many customary obligations were carried out by different groups in Wewak. This central contingent was one. Arthur Somare spoke on behalf of the Somare family, stating his father had a special place for central leaders and people. He thanked the gesture shown.
I think it's fitting that Governor, you had together with your whole assembly, lo wisdom, bla lo kam, lo sipik, na swenimol, ligli problem istap. Wante all marpla brata, blamitu all stap, susa, meri blamistap. Lo all lukimo say got this la deep and meaningful relationship where people got want them Central Province. So Michael made Central Province his home, but he also made it the home of the capital of Papua New Guinea as well.
The central delegation was also privileged to visit the Somare Museum. Jack Lapawe Jr., National EMTV News.
4 families and tenants of 2 NHC properties at Lay's Cormorant Street were evicted on Tuesday by the National Housing Corporation. According to NHC's Provincial Legal Officer Matthew Limu, the eviction was carried out after the tenants failed to pay up their rentals since occupation. However, the tenants said they have been paying rentals since their occupancy. The default payments were due to the tenants being laid off from work due to COVID-19.
This is where the eviction took place in Lay, Cormorant Street along Caswary Road. Plants and trees were chopped down by NHC officers of Lay's Momase Regional Office, ordering 4 families to move out from the properties on Tuesday.
Mr. Panteo got a cargo blue one time inside Laos na all come inside. All come inside 4 plamano, Sally come inside Laos no talk. Laos him cargo all to them. So me no come outside. Me pick him all bag blue me at stop no come outside them. Nara plamane housing commission one me office I am come to him she bush knife name just cut him so got a flower.
Come now, just come. Tritani mi pla one time all bush knife tramontina knife ya na kati all flowers lo front Laos. Na toki mi pos rausi mo kata santi kama na ol pigini implemento no traba pigini ol lili pigini ol poret na.
According to the provincial manager of National Housing Corporation in Lay, Matthew Limu, the eviction follows administrative directives from the NHC management in Port Moresby.
During the term of my 5 years as a senior legal officer with National Housing Corporation, I have not authorized administrative evictions, what is known as. I take carriage of all the issues arising out of evictions by way of court orders. So I do not authorize them to conduct administrative evictions. On the Caswary issue here, we sought instructions from headquarters.
Limu said the tenants were asked to vacate the property following default payment of rentals since their occupancy.
2016 is coming up now. Okay, time people start. In the beginning, before me taking occupancy, only asking me to pay some money in advance rentals. Okay, I paid about 8,000 kina and another 1,000 kina afterwards, which is a total of 9,000 kina I paid in advance rentals. Okay. Only talk, this is like advance rentals. So, meeting all this time, yet me calculating, I'm looking about it'll be for 2 or 3 years rentals. So, me talk, I'm good, I'm me can pay him. So, that's what I did, me buy him. And then, I come now, I'm long all this time, me pay him about 3,300 kina in rentals. So long understanding me meeting also I am up to date with my rentals. But me kerap nunggu also on the 11th and this letter which was dated 15th February. All carry come na give me 11th of March. No me give you this 7 days or 14 days or whatever. It was not the rentals. Me go and check him all because of this COVID something only stop him. Only pass him office, yeah. Me go come, no right now. Me talk, or maybe because I like him, me pay him some money, so me been paying 800 kina again. Just recently, me pay him and me come down, yeah. Now me ring him lawyer belong all them talk, no that. Something because of COVID-19 something it's closed down, so maybe let's suspend him this notices. But me get up no good there on Tuesday now. Only come long house, yeah.
One of the tenants evicted, Paul Nongo, said he hasn't received any receipt from NHC on an advance rental payment of 9,000 kina requested by the office in Lay. Nongo said he continued paying his rentals until he was ordered to vacate the property on Tuesday.
If there are certain payments, they have to come through my office. They have to do a formal letter of complaint to my office so that I can be able to deal with it. If nothing has been done, I cannot be able to comment much on that because as far as we understand, we have given him an opportunity to occupy the property, not knowing that he has made substantial sum of money, paid some substantial sum of money. It has not been brought into my attention, so I cannot be able to do much on that. So insofar as we understand, I think the last payment he did was about 800 kina, about a week ago. That was the only payment he made. I cannot be able to say that he paid about 8,000 kina. No, I deny of that fact.
Meanwhile, NHC's Momase Regional Manager Andrew Agui says one of the reasons following the eviction of 2 families and tenants of this NHC property was to pay off liabilities that the office owes to KC2, a Chinese national-owned company in Leh.
Basically, the previous management has sold some properties to KC2. And you would be aware of all those properties, yeah. The number of properties were sold to KC2. And to date, KC2 has not taken any vacant possession. They parted with their money, they paid, they've got official receipts, bank checks, everything done. But to date, they have not obtained vacant possession. They have not moved into these properties. That's for about 3, 4, 5 years ago. Yeah. That's how we are in this situation with KC2 in terms of the liability.
Julie Badui, OA, National EMTV News, Leh.
Papua New Guinea is caught in a dilemma of dealing with COVID-19 vaccination. Although 8,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine are already in the country and ready to be rolled out in the coming week, given concerns surrounding the safety of the vaccine and mixed reaction from the general public as well as the business community, rolling out the vaccination program will be a challenge for the government and relevant authorities.
As humans, we are always caught up in dilemmas regarding health. This may be taking fatty or sugary foods, although we know it will have some sort of effect on our bodies, which may include having lifestyle diseases such as diabetes. Or people who smoke or take alcohol know the possible consequences of it from a health perspective. But people still take these substances for various reasons that may involve personal satisfaction or to fulfill certain requirements as being part of a peer group or cultural environment. So humans are faced with making choices every day, whether it be at small scale as a family or small community, or on a broader scale like a large business entity or a government. Ever since the global COVID-19 pandemic reached Papua New Guinea a little over a year ago, and has gradually changed the way people conduct business or move around in public places, the Marape-led government has been faced with decisions from day one, but not without pressure applied from the opposition, critics from certain professionals in the country, and from the wider general public, whether via social media, through organized conferences, or conversation on the streets or at homes. The Prime Minister did a bit of a recap on the government's efforts since March last year upon receiving more than 8,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines from Australia on Tuesday this week.
Today is 1 year since we started our journey to fight COVID-19 in a systematic manner, especially the way we started with one index case 1 year this time last year. We went on a very aggressive lockdown, shutting on our borders, and to ensure that we try to be defensive in as far as fighting COVID-19 is concerned with our non-clinical approaches.
Prior to the issue of vaccination coming into play, there was the challenge of getting as many people tested as much as possible for COVID-19. Unfortunately for the government and health authorities in the country, a very little percentage of the country's population were tested by the end of year 2020. People were caught in the dilemma of whether they should be tested and confirm their status or preferred not to be tested as they simply feared of being added to the statistics and just wanted to apply preventative measures put in place by authorities or do some home remedy as with the common flu. And so when COVID-19 vaccines became available and COVID-19 variants also emerged in various countries at the beginning of this year, Papua New Guineans became caught up in another dilemma on whether to accept COVID-19 vaccination or not, or whether vaccination was really necessary for PNG given the low number of COVID-19 cases and deaths at that time compared to other countries. Conspiracy theories were also among the discussions as the government sought to decide on the appropriate vaccine for Papua New Guinea, where it was brought before the National Executive Council. This is despite some people, whether it be professional or personal opinions, saying they were still not convinced that PNG really needed a vaccine. Just a couple of weeks later, there was a spike in the number of positive cases and deaths, prompting the government to make a request to the Australian government to supply PNG with AstraZeneca vaccines. And Australia, without hesitation, responded swiftly, supplying over 8,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, an AusMed team and other necessities to help in PNG's response to the COVID-19 crisis. This humanitarian assistance is part of Australia's response to a request by the PNG government where they will partner Papua New Guinea on a comprehensive support package to address PNG's COVID-19 crisis.
And today again, one of the best gestures of kindness and love and gift, Australian people parting with 8,000 vaccines that they would have saved their own people, parting to us for us to at least secure our frontline workers and make sure they are safe in the effort to secure the rest of our citizens.
It's the first step in what we know is going to be a long, serious, difficult effort for the government of Papua New Guinea, which we need to be able to support them together with WHO, together with UNICEF, with the other partners. Prime Minister mentioned the Quad partners, India, Japan, US, France and New Zealand are also stepping in. New Zealand very recently with an aircraft supply of PPE, and France too, I know, is coming to assist. So together we want to provide all the possible help we can to the government of Papua New Guinea.
There have been mixed initial reactions upon the arrival of the vaccines from Australia. Whilst some have accepted them and would really want to be vaccinated, especially frontline health workers, some have criticized the government for the decisions on vaccination, saying they will not take the vaccine. And opposition leader Belden Nama is still not convinced that there is sufficient evidence and data for PNG to press the panic button.
The numbers of our deaths are not sufficient or significant for us to press that panic button.
Given the uncertainties that still surround the safety of the AstraZeneca vaccine, with the experiences of other countries in terms of side effects, the opposition leader on Thursday this week called on Prime Minister James Marape to immediately suspend the vaccination rollout until 100% safety of the vaccine is guaranteed.
I am calling on the Prime Minister, the Honourable James Marape, to immediately suspend the rollout of COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccines until all questions surrounding potential serious side effects are fully resolved.
However, Prime Minister James Marape and his government are still determined and positive of the vaccination rollout, defending the government's decision at another media conference.
And today, world statistics and science indicate the need for population to inoculate themselves with some sort of vaccine to give them added boost to their own natural immunity. Different one of us have different immunity size per se. And I can't be irresponsible as Prime Minister not to have a vaccine available for those who need assistance in the immunity. Natural DNA and immunity is not strong enough to resist the COVID-19 and also the risk that is involved in it. So,
meanwhile, PNG's premier medical research institution, the Papua New Guinea Institute of Medical Research, released a statement last Friday saying it supports the government's decision to roll out a COVID-19 vaccine in PNG. The statement, signed and stamped by PNG IMR Director Dr. William Pomat, said there is overwhelming evidence that the COVAX vaccine by Oxford AstraZeneca has undergone rigorous testing in various clinical trials, and in populations that have received the vaccine, adverse effects monitoring has been proven to meet internationally agreed benchmarks for safety and efficacy or the ability to protect from disease.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome to True Kai Sports. The SPPNG Hunters recorded their first win of the 2021 Intra Super Cup season, a thumping victory over Ipswich Jets, 44 points to 22. SPPNG Hunters winger Brendan Gotuno bagged a hat-trick as the Hunters overcame a half-time deficit at their new home ground, the Bycroft Oval on the Gold Coast. The Jets struck first when hooker Kieran Mosley in the 7th minute before Terry Wapi crossed over for the Hunters in the 15th minute. Both teams scored 3 tries, but Jets led 18-16 at half-time. Prop Epel Capinius provided the perfect start to the second half when he scored in the 42nd minute before Brendan Gotuno's hat-trick, and a try by Edwin Ipape sealed the victory. The Jets only managed 1 try in the second half. The Women's National Soccer League competition may be suspended indefinitely due to COVID-19 restrictions, but the competition has served its purpose well. With the women looking forward to the World Cup qualifiers, former captain of the women's team and current vice chair lady of the WNSL, Deslyn Sinio, says women's football has greatly improved with the semi-professional competition.
Ladies can perform at such at that standard. I believe we can go all the way. We just need more investment, more support, more training programs, and also have that experience in terms of playing world-class teams. That experience, I believe that it will enhance the ladies in terms of their performance, and we can be we are also, we have the potential to compete internationally, and WNSL sets that platform. If we continue, more resources are pumped into women's football, and I believe FIFA is also supporting women's football. PNG, we can be there. We can be the best in the world if we have the commitment to. From my experience, I wish the WNSL was, on during my time. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But because of those experience, I believe that having the women's NSL now will help our younger generations now in terms of performing at that level.
And that ends True Kai Sports. The weather details after the break.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Fine weather, some showers and thunderstorms later in Port Moresby, cloudy periods with showers in Daru. Fine with some showers and thunderstorms later in Kiriman, Alotau, Popondetta as well. Fine with a shower or two later in Alotau. In the Momase region, cloudy periods with showers and thunderstorms in Leh. Rain and thunderstorms in Medang, cloudy periods with some rain showers later in Wewak, and cloudy with a shower or two in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, fine weather followed by a few showers later in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokoporabal, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, cloudy with some showers and thunderstorms in Mount Hagen, Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy periods with some rain showers later in Goroka and Kundiawa.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Sunday, the 28th of March, 2021. From all of us here at EMTV, have a safe working week. Pleasant viewing. Good night.